And hey, everybody, welcome. I'm Mike Alley, and this is the Concert Spot Live. Every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we are here talking with some of your favorite artists, and while we're all not on the road right now, and about things, life on the road, behind the scenes, and so much more. Hope that you will take a minute and follow us. We are on all of the social medias that you can find. It's real simple. You can get us there on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are at The Concert Spot, and you can also, of course, visit our website at theconcertspot.com. There you can become an insider, and if you fill that out, we'll send you emails that get you things like pre-sale passwords, other cool things that happen throughout the year. Again, that's over on our website at theconcertspot.com. Well, I'm really excited this week for my friend and my guest this week, and the reason being is because you've probably seen him many times if you've seen the band Casting Crowns, and he has been right there on the side of the stage playing guitar and traveling with the band, founding member of this group, and well, we'll just talk more. I'm just so happy to welcome Juan DeVevo. Wow, sorry, I am having issues saying your name today. I don't know why. Let me actually turn your mic on. There we go, too.
I was going to say that's okay. I mispronounce my own name from time to time. So
Juan, it's funny because I mean, I don't know how many years have I known you and have said that, but it just all of a sudden out of my mouth, it just got caught. And of course, I'm sure you've joked about that. That's something that people for years have like.
It's just as part of the package deal. I just gotta accept that part. My brother's name is Jake, or Jacob. And then when my mom would get mad, there would be all kinds of mashups of those two names because when people would say my mom called my name, but then like she would end up being both of us in trouble. So it'd be like Jacob, and I was like, what is she speaking?
That's all right.
Some kind of Creole or something.
It's mom, so we'll let her get away with it. But
I can forgive you. How
long has Crowns been together as a band?
Well, my wife and I were engaged to be married in 1999, and that's when we met Mark because he came on to be the youth pastor at our church. So we weren't casting crowns until the next year, I think. When Mark came, we started doing youth praise band stuff together, and because he was the youth pastor and I played guitar and Melody was singing, and so we were all doing that together. And then like Chris, the bass player, was there. And then another guy, Darren. Darren was there at First Baptist Daytona. So Darren was running sound and stuff. So since then till now, so that's 20 years?
Wow.
Together. Now we started touring and all that in 2003.
Right.
So that's a little bit less.
Right.
17?
17 years on the road. Holy mackerel. That is a long time. And one of the things that makes you especially unique is the fact that one, you tour with your wife, who has been in the band, Melody, who plays violin, sings, but then also you guys have for years had the kids on the road with you.
Yeah. So we actually went out on tour. One of our first tours was with Rebecca St. James, and that whole family, the Smallbones and David Smallbones, the dad, the patriarch of it all. Melanie picked up a lot from him. So actually all of Mark's kids work on the road. So John Michael does some merch, and Reagan helps with she's a production assistant, and Zoe's a production assistant, and the youngest Hope, she does. So we learned from them. So now my son's going to be doing some work on the road, and they're in there somewhere.
I was going to say, you look at this, it doesn't look like a tour shot. It looks like a big, giant family shot, because that's kind of what you guys have been doing.
That's how we run it. So, I mean, like, since me and Melody were on since the beginning, our rule was if mom's on the road, then babies are on the road. So Megan has her kids with her. Melody has her kids with her. Melanie has her kids. And now that they're old enough, we're starting to put them to work. Right. Folding T-shirts and stuff.
What's the family business now, right?
There you go.
That's it.
Whole family, man.
So when you had them, I mean, since they've grown up in this life, basically, how difficult is that for you guys on the road homeschooling your kids, trying to do that? I mean, you're in a different place 4 days a week most times.
Oh yeah. The first thing that really bothered me about being on the road was so when you stop in a place, you have runners. There's people who volunteer or they get paid to drive you to the hotel, or if you have to go to a store, or if you just want to go out to eat. And so when my son and my daughter were small, like 2 and 3, first thing I was worried about is like, we keep getting into strange vans and just driving anywhere and nobody's asking any questions. So I was always worried that we'd get home and the kids will hop into a van and drive off.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to push the stranger danger when almost everybody they see every day is a stranger.
And they're nice. They're always nice. They're
right.
always nice people. So it's weird. But we and the other thing was my son, if you have a boy, if you've ever had a young boy, there, and I was one, but we just want to open things and look and stuff and press buttons. And on a bus, you can't press a lot of the buttons without dumping things out. So that was another thing that was another pitfall that we had to get out of. But
because the bus inside of the bus, especially like up where the driver is, I mean, it's like Starship Enterprise up there.
Yeah,
so,
it's a 747 cockpit, and every button does something. It'll put out the slide, it'll dump the sewage, it'll crank it up on one side. You know that there's leveling buttons and lights and all that kind of stuff, and they're lit up too. When you're a kid, you're like, wow, look at all these lights.
It's and Christmas.
Think about the scene in Elf when he goes into the elevator. It's just like that. So, but and then homeschool is always, that's the challenge there, is just finding a place. The first few years of us homeschooling, we would just go into the venue and go, and everything's banging. You got pipes and speakers and stuff and chains, and they're all banging. So we're trying to find a quiet spot and a place where we can, a table. You don't realize this, but tables are a precious commodity in a venue. You know, like, unless you're playing out at church and they have Sunday school places, like, I just want a table. So we figured it out. It's all settled out, and but it really is a thing about adjustment. The kids are at an age now where they're really, things are smoothed out, and we just give them a book and go read. And once they read, that's a big deal. Once they can start reading on their own, you're just like, just go read, go in your bunk and read. And math was hard, but we've it's cool. What's good is me and my wife being on the road, we can tag team. And if she gets a headache or something, or she actually gets motion sick. So sometimes on a trip, we're driving during the daytime, so we got to do homeschool in the back. And she's like, I can't do this. I'm just going to go sit up front. You read to them, so I'll read in the back. So it's good. We do a little tag team deal, and it works.
So, but I mean, apparently she can sleep okay.
Oh yeah. Well, like in the bunk, it's different because you don't see the trees whipping past and all that stuff.
So she's cool with the bus. It's just like she can't be out where she's seeing the visual.
Yeah,
it makes her
the visual thing. Yeah,
gotcha. So talk a little bit, Juan, about when you're doing not only the kid thing, but now you're married on the road. I mean, look, you guys have been married a long time. Argument's going to happen. You're going to rub up against each other. It's not exactly like you can go take a drive.
No,
and,
you can't.
Blow off steam somewhere.
Like you said, when you're moving, you can't just step out of the room for a minute because
right.
And a bus is just a hallway with wheels.
Right.
And so the family I grew up in, we talk about it. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna work our way through that, or until somebody feels like they're wrong. And somehow, my parents raised me to not be stubborn. I didn't want to be right. I just wanted to figure out what the truth was. So I didn't really care about winning arguments. So sometimes we'll be there on the bus and talking to each other, and then we'll figure it out. We just have to figure it out. And then that was a cool thing though. Well, the other thing is, my family's Italian, and then Melody grew up, her family is like Irish, and so we both have tempers. And so we got to know, we see it, we can feel it rising up. The funny thing is we just did like a marriage podcast and we talked about this, and we'll feel it rising up. And sometimes we just like do something to diffuse it. But we've been married long enough to where I know, sometimes as a husband, you want to say something to kind of jab, or that a joke is going to be funny, but it's not going to really make her laugh. So I've learned how to save them for later. let's just diffuse it right now. Let's fix the problem, and then we'll work on that other stuff later.
So when you got started in this, I'm going to guess we've never really talked about this, but was this your dream? Was this your thing? Oh, hey, we're going to go be musicians and be on the road?
My degree is in aviation. I was training to be a pilot. Actually, the first couple of years we were married, I was a flight instructor. So that wasn't even really, I don't know if you would call that a dream. I just really liked the idea. I go flying. I like flying, and I got into it and I liked teaching too. But through college, I sensed that God was calling me to something, but I didn't really know what. And that's when I got involved in church, and I started working with the youth group. And I knew God was calling me into ministry, and I was just like, whatever He threw in I would go work. I decided to do a Sunday school class, and then the people that were leading worship for the teenagers, they left, and I was like, I play guitar. I guess maybe I could do something. And then that's when Mark came, and all kinds of other things started happening, going to camp and working and playing with him in different places and in different schools and that kind of stuff. And it's just something that, I mean, obviously it's easy to look at it now and just go, God put it all together. But when you're in there, when you're in the moment, it's kind of just, for me, it was just being obedient one step at a time. It was like Melody felt like God didn't want her to be, she was a school teacher. She was teaching music. And she goes, I think He wants me to be available for something. And we were barely making any money. We paid for a pizza with change. One time we stacked up all the quarters and pennies and stuff on a like we were some kind of a king or something, you know, how the kings are counting their change. So we paid with the pizza with that. And she goes, I don't think I'm supposed to teach. And I went, okay, we'll do it. We'll get by, do something. And God's just always taking care of us. So for us, it's always been a question of, let's just obey this thing. Let's do this thing. And even now we could be super scared and try to protect this whole crowns thing. But it's just like for us, the drive-in tour we're going to do in a second, and a little, like we're leaving tomorrow to go on a drive-in tour, and we could get super scared about what's going to happen, or we're just like, we just know we're supposed to be playing, and we'll pray over it and keep our eyes open and see what God does with it, and just try to be totally. That's the thing about being in communication with God every day, is like, we'll just see what you have to say to us every day. And today, what does today's decision have to be with? So yeah, that wasn't my dream. I don't even know what my dream was. I wanted to be a fighter pilot in 7th grade because of Iron Eagle and Top Gun.
Ooh.
But here I am playing music.
There you go. So, well, you talked about the fact that you guys are getting ready to head out for like 3 or 4 weeks on this going to drive-ins in like rural parts of the Southeast and the Midwest, and playing literally at drive-in theaters on a real small stage and doing this. And we probably should have talked to you after this was done to hear all the stories from that. But you guys have played in over the years some very unique situations and very things. Can you think of, like, is there one thing that really sticks out in your mind and go, that has got to be one of the oddest things we've ever played?
Man, well, are you talking about professional or pre-professional? Because we did a homeschool dance once.
Oh, okay. No, you got to talk about that. So, you got to tell us about that.
Well, this is oh man, do you remember there was a song called Hungry? We were hungry for more of you. So we were doing worship songs, and the kids were dancing. These are teenagers. And that whole day, Mark's like, we're going to go do this homeschool prom or homeschool dance. And I was like, do they do those? Is that allowed? Are they allowed to have those? Because it seems like the two words, they don't go together. But we're playing and they're dancing. And then this was back when Mark first wrote Who Am I think was before it even came out. And but we still weren't signed or anything. And we were singing it, and they're slow dancing. And Mark just, because when he's around teenagers, he tends to be a little more frank than when we're on stage and there's a mixed crowd and stuff. And so the very last song, we were going to play a really energetic one. He goes, man, we're glad you guys let us out here and we're glad you let us sing to you. And please don't let our worship get in the way of your dancing. But we're gonna do one more song. Yeah, just like, don't let our worship get in your way. And I went, he just said that. He just said, because we thought we were coming in and doing, like, you know, as homeschool, we're gonna do a worship set, which is what we did.
Right.
We didn't do any dance songs. So that was awesome, just to watch people slow dancing while we're singing songs to Jesus.
I will have to tell you the story, and I didn't remember it until you just said that, and I can't remember, maybe the Altar in the Well tour, something along that line. But in Baltimore, at the Baltimore Arena downtown, I remember standing in the back on the floor, and in the back row of the back of the floor was a couple that was just mashing on each other in the middle of a Casting Crown song. And I remember thinking, really? Like, wow. Okay. You know,
Oh, yeah.
and, I mean, you know, I mean, I guess they loved each other, and it was, the spirit of love was in the air, but it just seemed like, you know,
you're covering kids' eyes, you know, like covering up little kids' eyes and stuff.
don't know. I don't. Thankfully, it was really dark, and they were in the very back row. So I guess, I don't know.
I was gonna say, if Mark saw him, I'm glad he didn't say anything. But because he's like, he has, he'll say this from the stage, that he has ADD, and if something happens or somebody yells, he's got to go. He has to say something about it, otherwise it'll be in his head the whole time, and he won't talk. He can't be able to talk. Someone will go, "Hey, we love you guys," and he'll go, "I don't know what you said. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you." He has to say something. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, love you too." But
well, Juan, when you guys are on the road, what's a normal day like for you and the family now?
Okay, well, just our family. We lately, I'm actually kind of proud. We've been getting up at 8, so we'll go to bed around midnight, something like that. The kids will go to bed way before then, but I'll go to bed around midnight, get up at 8, and we'll eat breakfast. And right after breakfast, during school, right after breakfast, we hit the back lounge, and we'll sing a song together and do a Bible study, and then they start school, and then I'll go and read or exercise. I get the easy part. Melody's doing school with them this whole time, and I'm like exercising. I'll drink a tea. I'll talk to the crew guys. If it's football season, you know, watch some ESPN. And then she'll text me and go, "Hey, do you want to go to lunch?" and get lunch. So I go in there, and I'll get their bags and bring them inside, and we'll eat lunch together. And then they go back to school, and then I go back to doing things like reading. But or what was another thing? Sometimes I go out with the guys, and then if she finishes school early, me and her will go to a coffee shop where she's picked up and then she is connoisseur with coffee. Like she'll she's very snobbish about it. So I don't even think she has a favorite spot. I'm gonna say, you know, is Madcap Coffee, is that in Michigan? There's somewhere in Michigan that she likes.
Yeah,
but,
might be there.
That's probably. Oh, and Crema in Nashville.
Oh yeah,
little plug in case
one of my faves.
If you need, I was gonna say, if you need a sponsor, see if they'll sponsor you. Because that is Melody. If it's Melody approved, that means it's good.
Then you know it's good coffee.
We'll get back and we'll do sound check. And usually, if the things are running smooth, we'll get done pretty quick. And then if there's a band with us, so we'll get their band and their crew and our crew all together, sit down in the seats, and somebody will share a testimony or we'll read some scripture or something to get us focused. Because I think it's really easy in the day to be doing your own thing or get worried about what's going to happen that night and not think about the people that are going to be there. And so when we sit in the seats and we focus on God for a little bit, and then we spread out and pray over the people who are going to be there, I think that really, it does a bunch of things all at once. It gets us connected with each other, especially on a tour. And it's easy to disconnect because you get in your bus or your room, your dressing rooms, and have like a crew world and a band world. And this way, I think it makes us all one. Like you said, with the picture, it makes us all one family. But then also gets us focused on God and the real purpose of that. And the third thing is it gets us focused on the people that are going to be there, which is really the only reason, besides just the fact that we want to glorify God, that we want to connect them with Christ. That's really the only reason, is the people that are coming is and God, and you have no idea whose story, what stories are walking into that door. And sometimes Mark says he sees sometimes you'll see a wife with a husband that seems like he doesn't want to be there, and you start praying for that guy because it's like, man, he needs to hear something tonight, even if it's not our cool song that we have. Maybe it's just something Mark says off the cuff, and so there have been people that have been like, man, our marriage has gotten back together. The teenagers, are returning to their fathers, and the husbands are returning to their wives, and the wives are returning to their kids, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of healing that's going on in that. I say service. I've been doing church a lot lately, but there's that's what we gear towards, is we gear our songs and our concert, our show, towards kind of a worship setting. We want an atmosphere where people encounter God, not crowns. We want people to meet up with Jesus, not us. And so we want them to leave there having met Jesus. That's it. Not saying that we are, but we're just going to tell you what we know, what we've seen, and what we've heard from God. And that's what I pray for, is that fathers think about their children, and that they think about. I pray for dads because I'm a dad, and so I pray for them to think about their children, think about their wives, and to walk out of there with a genuine relationship with God, because that's the only thing that's going to make any difference in anybody's life.
Well, and having been behind the scenes with you guys for so many years, that especially that part where you guys go into the arena, the setting, and pray for people and spread out across has always been very impactful to our team. That you take time to step down to really focus on those folks that are going to be there that night, each and every night. And I know it makes a difference. I know it does. So, well, Juan, before we wrap up, we have a thing that we call 5 questions that we do. And so these are kind of shotgun as we kind of wrap up our time together. So
okay. Is there a timer or
no, there's not a timer. So
okay.
I'm not doing that. It's not that kind of thing. Other than your Bible and your phone, what's the one thing you don't go on tour without?
Basically, I guess the laptop, because I'm trying to write things, but I'm not consistent at it. I have a blog that I don't want to tell anybody about right now. If you stumble upon it, then good for you. But so I'm trying to write things more often. But I usually just have a laptop, and then I have 2 books. One's usually fiction, and it's usually fantasy. Right now, I'm reading the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien, and then another one's nonfiction. It's usually a spiritual book, and it's probably written by C.S. Lewis.
Okay.
The odds are.
There you go. I think I know this because you kind of said this already. If it's been a great day and it's been smooth, your favorite off-site activity, if you get to leave the venue and go somewhere.
Ooh, man, other than like going to find some cool place to eat, usually, that's the thing though. It's not necessarily coffee, but Chris Huffman, our bass player, is a foodie, and Melody's a foodie. And so we don't go to a normal like chain restaurant. We try to find a place. So like if we're in Louisiana, you're going to eat crawfish.
Right.
If you're in North Carolina, you're going to eat barbecue. If you're where's if you're Kansas City, there's a lot of barbecue cities.
A lot of barbecue.
But, Texas, we're gonna eat barbecue, or depending on where you are in Texas, you try to find some good authentic Mexican food. But yeah, so to me, I get hungry for whatever that. So like Maryland, you guys brought us crab cakes, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
So that's a delicacy. I love those.
So it's finding that place, finding that food spot for the most part. So you it's going to be a good day when you walk into catering and see what?
Oh man. Okay, so we usually walk in at lunchtime, and they always, like, no matter how bad the catering is, they always have the chafing dishes, the big pot things. But if there's, I would say, so there's I think Thursdays are Mexican, so like Taco Thursday is what we have. But if the tortillas have been cooked, like if they've been warmed up, like you can see the little brown spots on them, then you know these people, they take a little extra care. and feeding us. So
they're not in the plastic bag, just sitting alongside the mix.
Oh yes, they got their own warming thing. Yeah, that's when it's
there. You go. All right. I think I know the answer to this one too. But are you, other than when you're on the bus and you're by yourself, are you more of a music playlist guy, a podcast guy, or an audiobook guy?
Man, that's interesting. Like if I'm by myself, I've been watching stuff on Netflix or Hulu on my phone. But if out of those three, out of the audio things, audio book would be the best, because I actually learned that if you read and listen at the same time to the same book, you retain it a little more.
Oh, interesting.
Podcast, I got to be doing something, either driving, I be doing some kind of mindless activity, like mowing the lawn or driving or doing something, and that way the podcast I can focus on that. But audiobook is where I can, that's probably what I'm doing.
All right. And number one, your favorite road snack. What's got to be on the bus?
Man, it's changed recently because of we've been off the road for so long. But there's these Trader Joe's has these tortilla chili lime. They're like tortilla chips, but they're curled up and it's almost like a Cheeto,
like a Frito, or
and so and they're spicy. So it's chili and lime little powder on there, and they are my absolute jam. I can't stop eating them. So I can't even tell you what they're called. Chili lime tortilla chips is Trader Joe's.
Chili lime tortilla chips. Well, there you go. Juan DeVevo, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, man. Really appreciate it. And of course, Casting Crowns Only Jesus is the latest project. You guys getting ready to hit the road on the drive-in tour. So you can hit up the castingcrowns.com website for all the details on that. And man, we just can't wait to get back to kind of whatever normal is going to be for seeing you guys back up here in Baltimore again.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I love time with you, Mike.
All right. Thanks so much. Hey, and I want to thank you for being a part of what we're doing here every Wednesday on the Concert Spot Live. Again, you can follow us. We are on all the social media at Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We've even got a TikTok, but we're really not cool enough for it. So you can follow us at The Concert Spot, and you can subscribe on our YouTube page and see all these interviews again there at The Concert Spot as well. So we're excited to see you on all of that social media. Connect with us there and on our website at theconcertspot.com. And of course, we'll be back again next Wednesday at 3 for another edition of The Concert Spot Live. You have a great week. Take care.